and touch his body in a body bag that smelled like roadkill. And now this is my son. This is my 19-year-old son right there. That's it.
Jennifer has lost two of her sons 6 months apart, and this video is another heartbreaking cry for help. If you know someone who has experienced the loss of a child and might be able to offer comfort or connect with Jennifer, please share in the comments below. I truly believe it could help her begin to heal by speaking with someone who understands the pain she's going through. Also, don't forget to donate to their GoFundMe to help the family hire a private investigator.
And touch his body in a body bag that smelled like roadkill. And now this is my son. This is my 19-year-old son right there. That's it. Hello, my name is Jennifer Soto, and I'm making this video on March 19th, 2025. Can't remember the day. I'm making this video because my two sons, Captain Korey Platt and Jason Abarca, died in 2023. I'm not making this video because I want money from you, because I want sympathy. I'm making this video because I've tried to reach out. I've tried to tell the story a few times, and at this point, I just need people to maybe just help me to give me advice. My son, Captain Korey Platt, was 26 years old. He's a captain in the Army. He killed himself on May 24th, 2023. The commander at his base knew that he was very depressed, suicidal and homicidal tendencies since August of 2022. Removed his weapon that he used as a military police officer, so he was no longer able to have a weapon. She also knew that he was depressed when she drove him to the CID office to be interviewed by another base for something that his ex-girlfriend that was crazy accused him of doing. So it's just a lot of things that happened. I have proof of a lot of things. Then with my son Jason, he was dealing with being bullied in high school, being bullied in middle school, to the extreme. He was prescribed Adderall when he was in middle school to help him with ADHD. And actually, no, not ADHD, ADD, because it helped him to concentrate, and it did help him when he was in middle school. He got better grades. But however, in high school, then he learned somehow from someone that if you take too much Adderall, it gives you this like high. It gives you like, makes you feel like this, you know, blood pressure raises, you feel like a superhero, I guess, or you just, you know, it's very unhealthy. It makes your heart rate go very extremely fast. The last time I took him to his pediatrician to get a refill, she said that his blood pressure was very high, his heart rate was high, and not his blood pressure, I'm sorry, his heart rate was high, and that she would prescribe him one more month, but after that she would not prescribe it anymore because she believed he was taking too many. So at that point, another doctor saw him later as he was an adult over 18, and that doctor prescribed him 1 month supply. That was in 2000, I want to say summer 2023, because he was an adult. And I'd asked that doctor because he was my primary care doctor as well. And since my son was an adult, 19, I said, please, if he's telling you he wants Adderall, please don't give it to him because he misuses it. And if you read in the medical notes, you know, about him from other doctors, it will state that he's misusing it. And it didn't matter. He still prescribed him 1 month's worth. And Jason saved it to only use it for when he wanted to feel like that pump, that burst of, I don't know what, you know, like, but it literally put him out of his natural state of mind. So when I got the call on December 13th, I was on my way home from the airport, a detective told me that, was this rental car in my name? Was it mine? And I said, my son was driving that rental car because his car is in the shop and about to be fixed, you know, so he's driving he might have driven the rental car, I don't know. And then he says, well, we found an empty Adderall pill bottle, his wallet, and then he allegedly went to a McDonald's and was trying to get a car from someone to just keep running, just keep driving, and took a car from a lady, allegedly, and then doesn't know where the hell he is, because they asked me, oh, you know, this is in Winchester, Virginia, like, does he have friends here? Do you know anyone? I'm like, no, we don't, you know. And so the very first detective I talked to, I said, if you found the empty Adderall bottle, my son is not in the right state of mind. I was crying when I was talking to the detective, and I said, you know, please find him. It's already dark now. It's 22 degrees. Like, my son does not know where he is. If he has taken the Adderall, then I'm positive he destroyed his phone before he left my house, because he would have like a super paranoia. It's like, if you look it up, overtaking Adderall, there's the diagnosis right there. There's what happens to people. So my son was not in the right state of mind. I'm not excusing anything that he did, but I advised this detective, you know, please find him. He does not know where he is. And then they continued to just keep telling me for the next 4.5 months that, oh, he got picked up. He got picked up. They even came and were watching me and my husband and my daughter as we would have our daily routines and have to go to work and everything, because they thought I was harboring my son. Even though I was crying and texting and calling every day, every week, please, can you go search for him? Because I know that he died that night, and either someone killed him or he froze to death. It was 22 degrees. One of the officers from Frederick County Sheriff's Office told me that the dog smelled my son to the middle of a field and then lost the scent. So I just don't understand. You said that, but then 4.5 months later, you went across that field, 1,200 yards from where they found the car that he wrecked and I guess ran out of, allegedly, supposedly. And that's where his body was, down across that field, down a hill in a tree. And my son was an athlete. My son was not a drug user. But like I said, I feel like in the beginning, they should have made this be a mental health issue person. And then they could have put him in jail, could have made him pay restitution. You know, like, I don't understand. And then, so I'll get back to what I'm trying to tell you, is that I'm trying to find out, you know, how does a person move on from this? Like, yes, I can move on. I work every day. I cry sometimes. I lost 2 sons within 6.5 months apart, and neither one of them should have died. My son that was a captain in the Army, he should have been transferred from that base because people were belittling him and treating him bad, and he was depressed. They knew he was depressed. Like, why wouldn't you think that, you know what, I'm gonna put in a transfer for this guy. He's a captain, you know. At that time, he was, before he got up, you know, the position to be captain, but just a few months later he was captain, but when he died. But, you know, why didn't you transfer him to another base, knowing that he was being belittled, telling his psychiatrist he's being belittled by people in his unit, by people he works with? They called him stupid. They called him all kind of things, you know. So I just don't understand, why didn't you do that? And for my son, Jason, who was 19, like I just explained to you, I think that the police dropped the ball. And it's hard because, you know, I've tried to talk to a few lawyers. I don't care about money. I make good money. I'm a truck driver. Sorry, I don't want to cry too much. I just want justice for them, because they shouldn't have died. There should have been steps in place, and for future soldiers, for future kids or adults that may have a lapse in judgment and take a bunch of Adderall pills or take, I don't know, whatever medication, or, you know, they're having a problem. Why are they having to be judged? Why didn't you listen to the mother that said, if you found an empty Adderall pill bottle, he's out of his mind. He's not in his right state of mind. You know, please find him. Please, he does not know where he is. So my son died because they didn't listen to me. My other son died in the military because they didn't care. They just, you know, they didn't care. It's just another number, right? So I guess what I'm trying to do is open the eyes to the public. And I mean, I have a military background from my family, and I had 3 sons that served, and Jason wanted to serve too, but he couldn't because the police didn't want to find him that night. And then 4.5 months later, they wouldn't even let me see him. So I had to get him cremated and touch his body in a body bag that smelled like roadkill. And now this is my son. This is my 19-year-old son right there. That's him. So I have my 19-year-old son. And then my other son was buried. And they didn't even give him an honorable funeral. They took that away within less than 24 hours of his funeral. So, like I said, I don't know, maybe some people that are watching this have heard some of my story before, but I think right now I'm just more looking for, like help, like what can a mother like me do? Like, I want to do something like for the military that if someone's diagnosed with an illness, like mental illness or suicidal tendencies, all that, like, that they have to contact the family, because I know about HIPAA. I worked in the medical field before, but you think that, like, if someone's telling their doctor every day or every week that they want to kill themselves, or they feel, you know, so depressed, like, why wouldn't you eventually think that, like, okay, after a certain time frame, I need to let their family know because their family doesn't know? And then for my son Jason, like, he was an innocent kid. He was 19, like I said, technically an adult, yes, but he was my little baby son, you know, like, he was my youngest son. He has a sister that was a year younger than him. And her and I have gone through a lot of depression, and this year she's tried to kill herself twice, and one time I found her. I found her on the floor in her room, and I think that if I hadn't found her that day, that she probably would have had a seizure and died. She took a bunch of sleeping pills, and I don't even know what else. And so we took her to the hospital, and about 2 hours after I was by her bed in the hospital, she had a seizure. So like I said, if she had been laying in her room on the floor, then she had a seizure, that she could have died, because you can choke to death or, you know, bite off your own tongue, like. So it's just been really hard, and every time I think that things are gonna be okay, and, you know, like they say, time heals all, or I'm tired to hear that they're in a better place. Like, how do you know they're in a better place? You don't know where they are, and you don't know how I feel. And I know people just say things because it's like the thing to say, but it does not help. I have so many friends that don't talk to me anymore. My family is torn apart. My 2 eldest sons don't talk to the family anymore. I don't know why. So it's like I have 7 children, and now I have 3, because 2 died and 2 do not talk to any of their siblings or me, their grandparents. They don't talk to anybody. And I just want to do something that when I think of my sons and I see their pictures, that I can feel like I did everything I could. Like, I just want people to be held accountable, and if you didn't do your job right, then I'm sorry, but you need to be held accountable. Like, I lost 2 of my sons. They were good people. They were good boys. I'm not just saying that because I'm their mother. They were. So, anyways, if anybody listened to my whole video, I thank you. And I can't tell this story again to another lawyer because I've talked to a few lawyers and it's very hard. Like, I know, like, everyone's like, oh, the military is wonderful people. The police are wonderful people. I don't have a problem with all the military or all the police. I just have a problem with the ones that dealt with my son in the military, was a captain, and I have a problem with the ones who dealt with my son in this police issue with my son that was 19 that died. He didn't know where he was. It was 22 degrees and dark. Why didn't you just find him? Why didn't you find him and put him in jail? And then I would still have him. But if anybody can offer me any advice, or if anyone's gone through something that's similar and could refer me to a lawyer, or, you know, like some type of group that maybe they've lost their children. Because I didn't just lose one son, I lost 2, and I almost lost my daughter. So just always hug your kids, even when you're mad at them. Tell them you love them. If you have a family member that you haven't talked to in a while and it was over something stupid, or maybe not stupid, but just try to imagine that you didn't talk to them and then something happens and they died and you never got to talk to them. You never got to tell them how much you love them. So I know my sons knew that I loved them, but I shouldn't have to be crying right now that 2 sons are dead. So any comments or advice, I greatly appreciate you listening to me. Thank you so much.